Coming live from the Tivoli Met Radio studio here on Auraria campus, this is All Sports with Gerardo. Thank you for listening to All Sports through Met Radio on mymetmedia.com, live every Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. This is your host Gerardo, and all I talk is sports. On the show today, I am going to talk about my videos on youtube.com at All Sports with Gerardo, breaking news, Major League Baseball, and NFL football. So before I start the show, I hope you all had a great week. To start off, check out my video from Marlins Park at All Sports with Gerardo on youtube.com. At the middle of every month, I post a video or talk about one stadium, so stay tuned for future videos from stadiums across the U.S. You can also view videos from the past and subscribe to my YouTube page at All Sports with Gerardo. Moving on now to breaking news. CU scored the winning touchdown with under 2 minutes remaining in the game to come back and beat Nebraska 33-28. Also, the Denver Broncos won their first game of the season against the Seattle Seahawks 27-24 with their new starting quarterback Case Keenum. Even though Case Keenum had 3 interceptions, he still threw 3 touchdowns and led the Broncos to a victory. Demaryius Thomas had the catch in the end zone to win the game. Emmanuel Sanders had a big day. Von Miller was being Von Miller like he always is, and he had 3 sacks, and undrafted running back Philip Lindsay from CU and Royce Freeman had a great performance. It was a great game overall. Case Keenum did great. It was nice to see Philip Lindsay, see what he could produce. It's good that they kept him on the team as well. Also, we got to see Von Miller, and it's just a typical Von Miller making big plays when it counts. Also, rookie Bradley Chubbs did great as well, so I'm looking forward to their next game against the Oakland Raiders this Sunday at Mile High Stadium. Aaron Rodgers is questionable to start against the Minnesota Vikings this Sunday. The status of Aaron Rodgers' knee injury is still unknown, even though he said he would play in Week 2. After Aaron Rodgers was carted off the field during the Packers-Bears game on Sunday Night Football, the Packers were losing 20-0, and it didn't look like Aaron Rodgers was going to return since it looked like it might have been a serious injury. But Aaron Rodgers returned to the game and led the Packers to a 24-23 comeback victory over the Chicago Bears. If Aaron Rodgers can't start this Sunday, then the Packers are ready to start quarterback DeShone Kizer. Moving on now to baseball, I'm going to tell you the current playoff race in both the American League and the National League. So to start off with the American League East, the Boston Red Sox are leading the division. In the American League Central, the Cleveland Indians are leading the division, and they're going to win their division. In the American League West, the Houston Astros are leading their division, but the Oakland Athletics are only 3 games back, so don't count them out quite yet. In the American League Wild Card, the New York Yankees are leading the first spot. The Oakland Athletics have the second spot, and there's really not any other team that could possibly catch up to the 2 wild card teams right now. So the American League is kind of set in stone. The only thing that could possibly change is the Athletics winning the American League West or remaining as the second wild card. Moving on now to the National League East, the Atlanta Braves are leading their division. The Philadelphia Phillies are kind of setting back a little bit, so they're sitting at 7.5 games back right now, so they don't have that great of a chance to catching up to the Braves and trying to win this division. In the National League Central, the Chicago Cubs are leading this division by 1 game. But don't count out the Milwaukee Brewers quite yet. They're only 1 game back. And the St. Louis Cardinals are holding on, and they're sitting 3.5 games back. And to save the best for last, the National League West, the Colorado Rockies are leading this division right now. They're up 3 games from the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks, but you can't count out the Dodgers or the Diamondbacks quite yet, because the Dodgers are only sitting 1 game back, and the Diamondbacks are sitting 3.5 games back right now. So it's really coming down to these division games and seeing who wins these games. So if the Rockies can win these games against the division teams here at Coors Field or on the road, they have a greater chance of increasing a lead to win the National League West, and they're doing that right now. Right now, they are beating the Arizona Diamondbacks right now. And for the last 2 weeks, they have been playing the division here at Coors Field. And after today's game, they are going to go on the road and play the division once again at their stadium. So these are really must-win games against the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. If they can win these games, they will get a bigger lead and try to eliminate the Dodgers or the Diamondbacks from winning the National League West. And if you have not went out to see the Rockies, they do have one more homestand when they come back from the road. The Philadelphia Phillies are coming into town during the week, and the last series of the regular season is against the Washington Nationals. So that's your final homestand for the Colorado Rockies here at Coors Field. And hopefully by the time we're playing the Nationals, we've already won the division and we are contending for a playoff spot, and we made it into the playoffs. So I'm definitely looking forward to the end of September. Looking at the National League wild card right now, the Milwaukee Brewers are leading the first spot. They're up 2.5 games. The St. Louis Cardinals currently have the second spot, and the other teams fighting for a wild card spot is the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, the Phillies, and even the Nationals as well. So it's really going to come down to who wins their division, and whoever doesn't win their division, they're going to be fighting for one of the 2 wild card spots in the National League. So moving on now to the Colorado Rockies, you definitely need to keep an eye on them. They're leading the National League West right now, and they're playing great baseball. For the month of September, they've been playing really great. They've been winning big games. Nolan Arenado, Trevor Story, and their other hitters and their pitchers, especially in the bullpen, have been doing great. So they're picking up right now. They're playing better baseball. They definitely want to win these games because they know they're contending for a playoff spot, and the end of the season is coming to an end. So it's definitely the time of year that you got to play your best baseball. If you haven't checked out the Rockies score from today's game, they are winning 5-3 right now in the 7th inning. Also, last night, DJ LeMahieu had the game-winning walk-off home run to beat the Diamondbacks 5-4. The Rockies have been doing really great so far, especially Trevor Story. He made history with his 40th appearance on second base and his 100 RBI for the season. Nolan Arenado and Trevor Story are going for huge milestones this year. They're also contending for being the National League MVP. I really hope that Nolan Arenado or Trevor Story wins the National League MVP. They really deserve it. And we need someone from the Rockies to finally win MVP. So just keep up to date with the Colorado Rockies because they're playing great baseball, and it's really becoming very interesting to see if they're going to make it into the playoffs. And if they do, they can go really far. Moving on now to NFL football. I'm going to give you the final scores from every game throughout the first week of regular season football. So to start off, we had the Atlanta Falcons versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The final score was the Eagles won 18-12. The Buffalo Bills versus the Baltimore Ravens. The final score, the Ravens win 47-3. The Jacksonville Jaguars versus the New York Giants. The final score, the Jaguars win 20-15. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the New Orleans Saints. The final score, the Buccaneers won 48-40. The Houston Texans versus the New England Patriots. The final score, the Patriots win 27-20. The San Francisco 49ers versus the Minnesota Vikings. The final score, the Vikings win 24-16. The Tennessee Titans versus the Miami Dolphins. The final score, the Dolphins win 27-20. The Cincinnati Bengals versus the Indianapolis Colts. The final score, the Bengals win 34-23. The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns. The final score, it landed up going into overtime, and it ended up as a tie game at 21. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Los Angeles Chargers. The final score, the Chiefs win 38-28. The Seattle Seahawks versus the Denver Broncos. The final score, the Broncos win 27-24. The Dallas Cowboys versus the Carolina Panthers. The final score, the Panthers win 16-8. The Washington Redskins versus the Arizona Cardinals. The final score, the Redskins win 24-6. The Chicago Bears versus the Green Bay Packers. The final score, the Packers win 24-23. The New York Jets versus the Detroit Lions. The final score, the Jets win 48-17. And the Los Angeles Rams versus the Oakland Raiders. The final score, the Rams win 33-13. So that's all the final scores from the first week of regular season football. Another thing about the first week of football was Josh Allen didn't start for the Buffalo Bills, but he is going to be starting for the Buffalo Bills this Sunday. Another thing too is the Cleveland Browns almost won their first game of the season, but it landed up as a tie. So they'll have another opportunity of winning their first game next week. Patrick Mahomes on the Kansas City Chiefs looked great. The Chiefs look like they're going to be a great team. Case Keenum looked great. The Broncos won their first game. So the season looks like it's going to be a great season. Case Keenum's going to do great, and the rest of the Broncos players. The Chicago Bears were winning against the Green Bay Packers 20-0, but Aaron Rodgers was carted off the field, and it looked like he wasn't going to return to the game, but he returned, and the Packers came back to win the game 24-23. Sam Darnold on the New York Jets looked great. He had a great game. So that's all the highlights from the first week of football, and I'm looking forward to the second week of football. So moving on now to the second week of football, I'm going to tell you all the matchups and what teams go up against each other. So to start off, tonight on Thursday Night Football, we got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals. On Sunday, we got the Carolina Panthers versus the Atlanta Falcons, the Indianapolis Colts versus the Washington Redskins, the Houston Texans versus the Tennessee Titans, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Miami Dolphins versus the New York Jets, the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Buffalo Bills, the Minnesota Vikings versus the Green Bay Packers, the Cleveland Browns versus the New Orleans Saints, the Detroit Lions versus the San Francisco 49ers, the Arizona Cardinals versus the Los Angeles Rams, the New England Patriots versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Oakland Raiders versus the Denver Broncos. On Sunday Night Football, we got the New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys. And on Monday Night Football, we got the Seattle Seahawks versus the Chicago Bears. So there's a lot of great matchups in the second week of regular season football. Moving on now to end the show, what to watch for this week, what's happening in baseball, and the race to the postseason for all contending teams. Also, keep an eye on the Colorado Rockies. When they come back home to Coors Field, go out to some games, go see the Rockies play. The Broncos play their next game against the Oakland Raiders this Sunday at Mile High Stadium. CU's next game is this Saturday against New Hampshire up in Boulder. Also, the second week of regular season football, tune into all the games that are happening this week. I hope you all have a great weekend. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that listens to All Sports through Met Radio here on mymetmedia.com. Until next time, this is Gerardo.